up somehow.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve, and all you got to do is believe. And believe me, it's such a nice feeling to be connecting with you once again for another edition of Straight Talk. I remember Straight Talk comes your way every Monday and Thursday from 8 in the p.m. right down until 10 in the p.m. And for those of you who may be joining me for the first time, I welcome you and trust and hope it won't be your last time. Just tell your neighbor to tell your friends that Straight Talk is on every Monday and Thursday. It's a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let's, in the process, continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest countries in the entire world. We try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in Straight Talk, join you in conversation, my Straight Talk family. And again, if you're a first timer, Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls and we include your emails. And if you're so minded to call, you can access the program by calling our local number, which is 663-6672. If you're calling that number from overseas, of course, you include the area code 869. But there is, in fact, an overseas number, which is 646-829-6672. Those of you who like the cloak of anonymity, we give you access via our email platform, which is Straight Talk Patches. That's STRAIGHTTALKPATCHES @gmail.com. And we are joined as well by our sister station, Win FM. That's 98.9 on the FM dial for those who may want to connect via that medium. And if you're so minded to call, again, the numbers are 663-6672 or 646-829-6672. And tonight, there's no time. There's no more time. We can take no more lies and no more spin. That cannot work any longer. It simply cannot work in what I call this new paradigm, this new and fundamental way of doing things. A new paradigm of transparency is our topic for discussion tonight. And I crave your conversation, I crave your participation, as this subject matter goes beyond laying the foundation for the relationship between government, the relationship between government and citizens. And transparency is essential. It is absolutely necessary to build trust among governments as they work together for development. Improved coordination and cooperation will only occur if we are more open with one another about what we are doing. Eventually, all of us will need to drop our reticence to being honest about ourselves. There's an unwillingness to do some things and or even talk about some things because of politics. Many of us, for example, are afraid. We are nervous or worried and make excuses about losing our jobs or being unable to pay our mortgages, and many other excuses we make. But you want me to come and talk and telling me what to talk on your behalf. So it's okay for me to lose my job and income and be unable to pay my mortgage. Notwithstanding that, I will continue to talk, no matter what they try to do to me, because I get strength and courage from the good book. I get strength and courage from the Holy Bible. It is there I always find a source of strength, courage, and protection. And tonight, my strength and courage comes from Deuteronomy. chapter 18, verse 18, which tells us that the Lord said to Moses, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And that comes from the King James Version. I like the King James Version so much. And the hymn writer tells us as well, we are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and right, standing firm for godly justice, bringing evil things to light. We must therefore begin a process of deep and total or full disclosure. Only this process will release us from the grip of the past and allow us to get into the present. There is an urgent necessity to be transparent as part of the new paradigm. So tonight, we will look at what exists at this moment in time in St. Kitts and Nevis. But before we get to that in-depth discussion, I would like to look at our observations in review. And that's the time when we highlight the issues of the day and do some reflection. We may then ask questions such as what was accomplished? How has it helped us? What has changed since? And what can be expected next? Also, what we have learned as a people. And our first observation tonight, my dear people, comes from a popular barber who resides in the Bronx area in New York, known in Calypso circles as New York Joe. And this popular barber warned our Prime Minister, Dr. Joe, and his Labour administration to beware of a dubious character who in recent times has been using his social media platform to attack upstanding citizens. Little did many people know of the skeletons in this DJ's closet until New York Joe spilled the beans.
My name is Joseph Mason Tweed of Joe. I'm here to issue a warning to the newly elected St. Kitts Nevis government. Beware of the DJ from St. Paul's who live in New York. The DJ cursed Kennedy Simmons because he didn't get what he wanted in favor of Denzel Douglas. When he didn't get what he wanted, he cursed Denzel Douglas in favor of Timothy Harris. When he didn't get what he wanted from Timothy Harris, he cursed Timothy in favor of Dr. Drew. The DJ resume reads as follows. He is unemployed at this moment. He was terminated from his job for stealing. If you know his name, call Lebanon Hospital Human Resources and tell him you're an employer looking to hire him. Countless promotion that failed. Nothing worked for this man. Property foreclosure in St. Kitts. $20,000 from the St. Kitts government, from the tourist board, to put a truck on the parkway. He failed to give a proper financial report. Thief. Found guilty in New York court for robbing a young lady. Check New York courts. You know his name. Just go on e-courts and punch up his name and you will see the record right there. It's public record. Thief. He beat a helpless man with a hammer. Kids fundraiser that he cheered in St. Paul for 5 victims. $1,000 was raised. The next day he was on a plane to New York, stole all the money. He said he's the one that put that government in power. He wants to work at the mission. Try it. Try give him a job there. Beware St. Kitts Nevis government.
Yes, beware. And I'm aware that I perhaps did not say good night to St. Kitts and Nevis, and forgive me for that. I did not say good night to the entire Caribbean. I did not say good night to the world, because we have Kittitians and Nevisions all over the world, in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, and in North America. So I say good night, good afternoon, or good morning, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you find yourselves. But to continue our observations and review, Straight Talk would also like to implore our Prime Minister Jew to beware of his newly found political ally from across the waters. Straight Talk has been reliably informed that the Prime Minister intends to take him on his first official visit to the Republic of China on Taiwan, which I believe is in November. But you must be mindful, Prime Minister. Beware of what he did to former Prime Minister Douglas. Beware of what he did to my cousin and former Premier Vance Emery. May his soul rest in peace. He told me, but I can't say it because he did not say it himself, and he's gone. And beware of what he did to your predecessor, Prime Minister Timothy Harris. He said this recently about you, Prime Minister. He said this.
You asked about fair share. Well, that would be an issue. I mentioned Prime Minister Drew on 2 or 3 occasions during this press conference, because as I said, thus far, he has been a man of his word. Thus far, in terms of our discussions and the issues, he has responded positively. You asked about fair share. Well, that, of course, continues to be an issue. I mentioned Prime Minister Drew on 2 or 3 occasions during this press conference, because as I said, thus far, he has been a man of his word. Thus far, in terms of our discussions and the issues, he has responded positively.
So, I implore you one more time, Prime Minister Drew, beware, because he will use you, then abuse you. Fair share is the issue. And my other observation and final observation tonight refers to the latest news about geothermal development in St. Kitts and Nevis. And once again, it has come to the fore. Geothermal development in Nevis and the wider Caribbean, I must say, comes with a lot of legacy issues, which I would address in another episode of Straight Talk. In the meantime, it will be suffice to say that I support the views of Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge when she exposed what I call the Mark Brantley geothermal lie. And she said this in such a classical way.
In September 22, when he roadblock for a letter that he could not get from the government that he was part of, I said, this guy really, I think you need to put his face next to Pinocchio when we talk about telling lies. From 2011, 2012, the Green Climate Fund was around, actually 2015. The Green Climate Fund has been around, and because of our pursuit of sustainability, we have identified these various funding agencies that we said we would tap into to advance our geothermal and to advance our climate change projects, etc. And so all of a sudden, he now finds it necessary. It's okay to say that he got the letter, Dr. Drew sent off the letter. But to come back and say that that is the reason why he could not advance geothermal energy, that is a blatant lie. And I could tell you, the reason that geothermal energy has not been advanced is because it has not been a priority of the Fijian government. It has not been a priority, and they have been negligent.
Well, I have my views as well about geothermal development in St. Kitts and Nevis, because remember as well, we identified that source here in St. Kitts. And the view back then, even under the late Premier Vance Embry, was that both islands and its development can coexist. But like I said, we will deal with that issue in a substantive way in a subsequent episode of Straight Talk. But those are the observations currently under review here at Straight Talk, and we will continue as they go along, our episodes as well continue. But as mentioned earlier, there is a new paradigm of transparency in St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is not the time to sit on the fence. This is a time to hold firm, to ensure that we have true representation, to move forward and to share with each other the knowledge that we need to help us to save our federation. We have reached a very important, very critical point, and we need the cooperation of all levels of the hierarchy and institutions, as well as the government. At the ripe age of 39 years as an independent federation, we have reached a very crucial juncture in our development. We are heading towards our 40th birthday, and it is full time to demonstrate political maturity in our constitutional democracy. After 39 years of independence, let us ask ourselves, are we stronger? Are we more resilient? Are we determined to ensure justice and freedom for all as we struggle for political and economic emancipation? If the answer is yes, then it means that no Kittitian or Nevisian must be left behind. No one must feel left out. But that is only wishful thinking, we may say. And I can't pretend. So I must tell you, there is a real tragedy in our country in that every election, especially the last one, has further divided the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. There's little time, therefore, for a honeymoon period. While so many small businesses are still struggling, lots of people are not happy, and the price of food is rising by the day. We've heard of the shrinking of the production of oil by the OPEC members. But we cannot forget that livelihoods in our tourism and hospitality sectors, the backbone of our grassroots economy, were put on hold. Our restaurants, our taxi drivers, our hairdressers, our hotel workers still need a stimulus to help them recover from their losses over the past 2 years. But I'm afraid it seems like that will not happen, at least under the Drew Labour administration. That's how it seems. Things may change, because there's a new brand of politics that is transactional. This new brand of politics is not for country or family. but it is for me. And it is such a shame because Team Unity represented everybody. The Team Unity administration represented all political parties in the Federation, save and except the NRP. And please, do not get upset because I must bring you the facts. My job is to educate my people. So I will call a spade, and I will give Jack his jacket. The theme of the St. Kitts Labour Party campaign was get rid of them. And surely, the supporters of this party and new administration seem hell-bent on utilizing 45% of the human resources of St. Kitts and Nevis. That seemed to be their plan. And it's gone back to the old days.
I say we, and I mean the voters, so overwhelmingly gave Labour a mandate. Overwhelmingly. And that is to govern. And not to keep the same people who are making life miserable for people.
Yes, only the 45% that voted for Labour are the ones to eat bread and get gainful employment. That seemed to be the thrust. And if you take that 45% and you deduct the 33% of that 45% that came from overseas, and that's a topic we'll have to discuss in subsequent episodes as well, the overseas vote. Because over 4,000 people came from overseas to vote in our last election in St. Kitts alone. I understand the figure in Nevis is pretty high as well. But many are wondering, when will the day come when we will no longer be divided because of politics? When St. Kitts and Nevis will become our land of beauty, and our country be a piece of bones, and our children standing free on the strength of will and love. Not a country constantly evolving into masters and servants, with the tax gathering power and the ability to reward friends, beg your pardon. This is unprecedented in a democratic society. A selected group or class of people seen as having the most powerful and most power and influence in society continues to do well, and most of the rest may just get enough to eat. But there's no freedom where it matters, which is the freedom to disagree with the majority view on anything. There's a lack of transparency, which is one of the basic principles of good governance, that can provide the general public with an accurate and deep understanding into the work of government, its companies, and or its statutory bodies. Citizens should be enabled to inspect the work of government, as well as the availability of instruments for monitoring the decision-making process, like the Freedom of Information Act, the Integrity in Public Life legislation. We as citizens must also become familiar with our rights in a clear and understandable way, my Straight Dog family. We need to ensure that. And my people, my Straight Dog family, while there is no commonly agreed definition of transparency, there is, however, a consensus that it relates to the right to know and the public access to information. So why? Why has the Jew Labour administration in short order introduced a new paradigm of transparency? The administration has become a Facebook government, for example. Yes, I call it a Facebook government. because that's what they do. All they do is post their pictures on Facebook. That seemed to be the order of the day, my Straight Talk family.
The team has been working hard. You saw all the ministers posted just to let people know that they are in position and leading their ministries and, in a sense, leading their country. Went to their ministries. They have had their pictures being posted just to let people know that they are in position and leading their ministries and, in a sense, leading their country.
Yes, that's the post, that's the Facebook government, I say. Yes, they posted their pictures on Facebook just to let us know. To let us know that they've been to their ministries and they're serving their country. But what about poor Alice and others who have no smartphone, who have no smart TV to look at YouTube and or Facebook? These are some of the issues that need to be addressed in this new paradigm of transparency. This new paradigm of transparency, the Jew administration have signed MOUs on behalf of the country. Yes, in this new paradigm of transparency, the Jew administration has signed MOUs. MOUs. They have signed, my Straight Talk family. But, a big but, with whom? When? And why are they secret? Why are these MOUs that have been signed not public business?
We are looking at our investment portfolio. We have signed MOUs and so forth, and we'll update the country as these are to be implemented. So I will say that it looks good in terms of the opportunity for investment.
Is this a new paradigm of transparency? That you sign MOUs on behalf of the country, but it's a secret. We don't know with whom. We don't know when. And we don't know anything. But in this new paradigm of transparency, the Jew Labor Administration have also formalized an economic council. But who sits on this council? With whom? Or who comprises this council is the question we also ask. These are the issues that we need to address.
In an interview I had recently with a local economist, he said to grow the economy and to create opportunities for people, transfer of wealth and all these things.
Yes.
Have you begun crafting a developmental plan for the country?
We started even before the elections. Mm-hmm. For example, I spoke of an economic council. I still have that economic council, and we have formalized it. So yes, the transfer, the wealth aspect that he's talking about is important. We have to find ways to make sure that our people can grow wealth, and can pass that wealth on to generation to come. So those are some of the things that we are looking at, and the Economic Council is in place, and they would have met twice since, and they're going to meet a third time as we put that in place and the strategy of implementation. So I would say that that started even before the elections.
Can you say who are some of the members of the council?
Well, once we formalize it, they met twice. We are formalizing it at this time, and then we will make that public. We are now moving very strongly. We have an economic council. We are moving very strongly on that front to make sure that we receive the necessary investments to continue and to build on what we have here in St. Kitts.
The Economic Council is in place. It has met twice. So why the secret? Why the secret, we ask? Is this the new paradigm of transparency? Why is so much grumbling and fumbling with the peace initiative? The Prime Minister said that the administration of the program was unacceptable. Those are my words. This, in fact, is what he actually said.
With respect to the peace, as I've said before, we have found there were how it was administered, and I will say this, that it was administered almost as if one man controlled everything, and that was Len Harris.
In this new paradigm of transparency, the Jew Labor administration must accept that the peace initiative has derived benefits, direct benefits to the country. That is the first thing that ought to be accepted.
One of the direct benefits of this program has been the significant peace and calm in the country, in contrast to the period before. And I recall in the run-up to the elections in 2015, we had a significant number of persons shot and killed. Every night almost, people lay awake waiting to hear where will be the next shootout. We had them at our church steps, we had them at our business places, we had them at the strip, and we had to come up with new innovations. And the peace program is one such innovation. We could speak with joy now for the parents. I recall that a mother met me and she said, "Dr. Harris, I have lost my son," she said, "to gang, and up to today, I haven't gotten over it. I do not wish that for another mother."
In this new paradigm of transparency, Prime Minister Drew, please to tell the country what is the current disposition with the peace program. It is said that you convened a meeting and the guys on the program walked out of the meeting because they have not been paid. Is that true? Or is that false? Is that false? We seem, quite frankly, to be playing with fire.
Hey, I want us that the labor people them know, right? One funny for the cemetery, so I can call them. I want us that the labor people them know, right? I in person again, but this one we not the bigger heads them here. One funny for the cemetery, so I can call them.
Troubling. This is troubling. And even more troubling is the attack by one of the henchmen of Prime Minister Drew on the Commissioner of Police. That too is quite troubling. The attack by a henchman of the Jew Labor Administration on the Commissioner of Police.
My good friend Hilroy Bandy, the police officer, don't retire, don't get pension, don't get gratuity. They asked him to stay on. Who asked him to stay on? The former administration. So automatically, if you are asked to stay on, well, when the former administration gone, you should automatically go too.
That is troubling. And I hold no brief for Commissioner Brandy. He's not my friend. He's not my family. But I can understand why he would be asked to stay on. Because under the Commissioner of Police, Hilroy Brandy, homicides move downwards from a high of 36 under the Labor administration to a low of 12 homicides under the Team Unity administration. So I say kudos to Commissioner of Police Hilroy Brandy and his brave men and women in the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis police force. The Jew Labor Administration has begun to install their statutory boards. Again, there's a new paradigm of transparency because they have only announced the chairpersons of these boards and not the directors or members of the boards. However, Straight Talk would like to make special mention of the chairman of the St. Christopher Air and Support Authority Board, the SCASPA Board, and respectfully asks if his appointment is a quid pro quo. Is it a favor for a favor? Or like they say, is it a this for that? The question is being asked in this new paradigm of transparency for the following reasons. On the 20th of May 2015, the new chairman of SCASPA, who served as its CEO from 2012 to 2015, wrote to the current chairman of the Jew Labor Administration Transition Team, and I quote, and this is what he wrote: "Dear sir, in July 2004, the St. Christopher Air and Support Authority, SCASPA, engaged the services of your law firm to provide legal counsel and advice." And this letter is dated the 20th of May 2015, like I said. And it continues, "In recent years, we have observed a reduction in the number of legal matters at SCASPA requiring the services of your firm. In addition, the experience that our in-house legal counsel has gained over the past years has positioned her to provide legal service and to provide legal advice, beg your pardon, and guidance on a number of these matters. In light of the above, management has taken the decision to terminate the monthly retainer or monthly retainer fee arrangement that is in place with your chambers effective the 21st of May 2015, and to seek external legal counsel and advice as the need arises. It continues, "Our record shows that SCASPA has an outstanding balance of $478,297.79 owed to your firm for unpaid retainer fees and legal representations made on behalf of SCASPA during the period of 2004 to 2015. In our recent discussions," the letter continues, "with you regarding payment, you requested that all outstanding amounts due to you be settled in full upon termination of the retainer fee arrangement. Enclosed, please find a check in the amount of $478,297.79, which represents the full and final settlement of the outstanding balance due to your chambers for legal services rendered to SCASPA." And we find that very interesting, and we ought to ask if there is a quid pro quo. But could you imagine someone retained for 11 years? There's no copy of a contract that was produced, but 8 years after being appointed as the then CEO, this new chairman all of a sudden decided to pay nearly $500,000 to this chairman of the transition team. And it was on July 2015 The board of directors, in communicating with the minister, wrote, reasons for the non-renewal of contracts for the now chairman of SCASPA. And it says, and I quote, decision by the board. The Human Resources Subcommittee of the board recently made the decision not to renew the employment contracts or contract of the former chief executive officer, who is now the newly appointed chair of the board. It goes on, reasons for non-renewal of his contract. This new chairman and former CEO, it says, his 3-year contract with SCASPA expired on the 15th of May 2015. He continued in the employment of the authority up until the 21st of June 2015, at which time he was informed that his contract will not be renewed. The CEO was paid all his entitlements under his contract, including the normal statutory amounts regarding termination of employment. It says the main reasons for the non-renewal of his contract were not limited to the following, and they cited some 7 reasons. I'll read the first one. Insubordination. The CEO deliberately or otherwise failed to comply with the direct instruction from the Honourable Minister, who requested that he hold off on all payments to the now chairman of the transition team until such time as instructed by the minister or the newly appointed board. In spite of this instruction, he authorized his staff and he signed a payment amounted to $478,297.97 to the current chairman of the Jew Labor Administration transition team. My Straight Talk family, there's lots more we can talk about, and we will talk about. But we ask, is this a quid pro arrangement? Is the favor for a favor? Or is it a this for that? In this new paradigm of transparency, these are some of the questions we ask. Finally, the CBI and the way forward is something that would always come to the fore. The CBI and the way forward was outlined by our new Prime Minister.
We were able to keep going because, however, St. Kitts and Nevis cannot and must not put all of its eggs in the CBI basket. Therefore, your government will work to restore the reputation of the CBI program. That is a top priority.
My Straight Talk family, one of the contentious issues which I believe influence the results of the August 5th election was the alternative investment option, which is a component of the CBI. Under this option, the government chose to facilitate the construction of a new correctional facility. Most people refer to it as a new prison. And there's no issues in terms of constructing a new prison, because the existing prison was built in 1840, as it is called, 1840, and built for 66 inmates. I haven't in recent times investigated the number of people that are now incarcerated. But it reached to over 240 inmates. And as way back as 2008, under the Labour administration, in the budget address delivered by then Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, he spoke to EU funding for a prison. But that was 14 years ago. But the former administration, or the last administration, thought they would fund it under the alternative investment option. The investor in that project was given great prominence nonetheless, even what transpired at elections. The investor in that project was given great prominence by Prime Minister Jew at the United Nations General Assembly. And that caused much consternation here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but even amongst the henchmen of Labour.
Something happened. A lot of people was talking about how many persons went off and so forth. And I am one who believe that the people who went there, the numbers seemed a little high. But I must say, I had an issue with when Dr. Joe was sitting there, Senator Clark, Prime Minister, and a Chinese lady. For that lady to be sitting there, I found that was disrespectful. But we are now hearing that the lady that was there is the lady who is involved in the CBI program, Galaxy. Is the same lady who said that with Timothy they were building a prison. So this in itself adds to the awkwardness of she being there. Because we campaign on the fact that the prison is wrong. We campaign on the fact that the prison should not be built for the money that they're saying it should be built for. So I expect that to be fixed and rectified. I'm urging my good comrade leader, Dr. Joe, to fix that.
Fortunately, unfortunately, and or otherwise, the good comrade, Dr. Jew, is fixing that to his personal liking. Like I said earlier, there's a new brand of politics that is transactional. So it is not about country. It is not about family. This is about Prime Minister Jew. So in this new paradigm of transparency, I challenge Prime Minister Jew to tell the country whether it is true that since his elevation to the high office of Prime Minister, he has already signed 1,500 applications, 1,500 applications for citizenship under the prison project. In the process of restoring the CBI, Prime Minister Jew must also reveal to the country how many passports have been processed under the CBI program since its inception. St. Kitts has learned, but we cannot verify, that over 30,000 passports have already been issued to Chinese, Russians, Nigerians, Iranians, and other nationalities whose countries permit dual citizenship. So Prime Minister Jew, on behalf of the country, I'm calling for a new paradigm of transparency. And in your first press conference, which you promised will be soon, yes, you did promise your first press conference will be soon.
We'll announce soon our first press, face the press as a team and as an administration. Now soon, our first press conference, when we'll come to the press and we'll be able to face the press as a team and as an administration.
Prime Minister, when you come to the press and face the press as a new team and a new administration, I implore you, come prepared to tell St. Kitts and Nevis how many passport applications you have signed since taking office and how many passports have been processed to date. The last information we got was this information from the former Prime Minister.
Last time I had reported the European bank note who manages our passport, the 10,777 had been issued at the end of December 2015. And we have the revised information from the banknote, which says that up to 2015, really, the figure should have been 12,496. And the total number of CBI passport now issued stands at 16,544.
16,544 citizens out there. But trust me, that total, I'm afraid, was 4 years ago in 2018. We have not received an update since 2018. So, in this new paradigm of transparency, I submit the country needs to know. That's my story tonight, and I'm not going to change it. But I'll open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. I always like to implore you, before I do, and I'll do so in a few seconds, respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. And in doing and saying those things, let us ensure it will be beneficial to all. And in the process, let us try to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, I go to the lines and say, caller, you are live. It's 3 before the 9 o'clock hour. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, my dear. How art thou?
How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
You're talking about BlackBerry and all kind of phone. You're not doing nothing for me. So how you going to talk that I can, how you could decide I can work them if I ain't had none?
Well, so you have a smart...
You're laughing. You're laughing, but me ain't laughing.
You have a smartphone?
Well, I will get it smart if I get it.
Oh, you do.
Now you're talking about Russian. They come in here or just the passport they will have?
Once you have the passport, they are a citizen like you and me.
They could go all over. So with all that, them bombing up and doing this and that, Russian people will put their foot here. So what only come up us. Anyway, I thank God for my spare life. As Carl does say, at my age. Carl, good to hear you. When somebody wrong, give them their wrong. They used to say what was going on before was wrong. Now they must say they're wrong. Mr. Liburd, Timothy Harris was our best prime minister. He had fault, yes. We know people bad, thief bad. A whole election to get at Timothy with all the good he was doing. That's why 10 men in one come back to get at him too. All the money, let them go joyride. Let them knock on the IMF door because they're going to do it. And right now IMF got problem. Like they rest friends away. They say the people come for Timothy. How they get them? They're not happy now. They ain't happy. Look at them. Mr. Liburd, you read an email say, they're sorry. I don't know who. All had fault. They could have worked it out, but get the first with them. They could have worked it out. Through one man, they had it in for the best prime minister. He get the first chance, and who put them up? Get their fair share. Where is them now? No share at all. You all bright. Don't let people use all your head. Stop turn with people. You all people was under Timothy. Even they was pretending, and they still there. The 500 was to double more than what Timothy said. They not doing it, and they stopped some of them. See you, I will come back.
Thank you very much for your intervention. I Straight Dog family. The lines are open. The numbers again, 663-6672. That's the local number. The overseas line is 646-829-6672. And again, we're looking at a new paradigm of transparency in St. Kitts and Nevis. And transparency, like I said, goes beyond laying the foundation between the government and its people. Transparency is essential to build trust among governments as they work together for development. Improved coordination and cooperation will not only occur if we are to be more open with one another about what we are doing. It's now 9:01. We go back to the lines. Caller, you live. Good evening, my dear brother. How art thou? My pleasure.
Where is he now? It seems like he met earthly Jesus now, so everything is perfect now. There's nothing now for he to criticize and about good governance and all of that. Well, I hear Carlton Jupan say a long time ago that politics is of the devil. But it might be of the devil, but at least it have good what I call them there, good people. The devil have good people around him. Good people who don't really follow up to the dirty name that politics get. And it also has its bad disciples in politics. I am contribute about self. And I am warning the new Prime Minister, Dr. Joe. Be careful with backstabbers. Everybody have seen what the greatest backstabber when it comes to politics has done to many persons who are in top position in politics. They're going to come with a sweet mouth. Check back on last December's budget, federal budget, and you hear all who say that was a great budget, and they're pleased with it. But because every minute they want to come back and give me peace, otherwise they're going to say this, they're going to say that, give me peace. All of a sudden, the Minister of Finance, he wasn't no good. And see what the backstabber do to the one who was supposed to be the next Prime Minister. Lead him down the wrong road, make him drop his bread, and he can't give him a piece of pinchy. And he still got hit 2 big 2 pence bread in his hand. And now the one who he lead down the wrong road and make him lose the opportunity that will never come back. He laughing after him now. He laughing after him. He got a job and he can't say, well, come make you a job. He ain't gonna say that. So I am warning the new Prime Minister, watch them back tables. No patches are here. Just play something there. I mean, you're talking about the CBI. Now, all those people who got them load of passport, I always say it, you're supposed to become a citizen by coming and investing your money in the country. If you get a passport to be a citizen, come and invest in. Don't buy your passport to go all over the world, go create Moldau and put bad stain, black stain pan our little St. Nevis name. Well, since we don't have nothing else to lean upon, but that, they're going to have to continue it, but be careful to who you're selling passport to. Make sure that they have good intention to come and invest the money here. Otherwise, we ain't going to have room. We ain't going to have room to spit. That we're going to be standing up shoulder to shoulder people in this little country. Now, let me go to Old Road Bay. I've heard a call on a radio station say that Old Road Bay need lights because when traveling across here in the night, you cannot tell whether you're in the middle or you're to the left side of the road because across here is dark. And I am calling on the Minister of Infrastructure, whosoever that minister may be, whether man or woman, go like yesterday, go put the lights across the Old Road Bay. Because that was the reason why you built Old Road Bay, for the safety of people's lives going across there from the hillside stone. Well, we move from one and we got to another danger. Without light, that is danger. That like jump out the frying pan and jump in the fire. So go and put the lights across there. I heard you patches say that lampposts and lights come and they disappear. Find out where they be and put them across. The patches, I will come back because time short. I'll be back.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. And we all miss him. Yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
And yes, you're correct. The new Minister of Public Infrastructure, I will implore him to investigate where these lights have gone to, because I, in fact, had a program in relation to the disappearance of those lights. So I would support a full investigation where those lights have gone to. I understand there was an arrangement made. I'm not aware whether it is a normal thing or even a prudent thing for a public company to procure lighting for a private investment. But that should be investigated like other things, and I would support that investigation. Not a wild goose chase. Just go investigate them and come back and tell us what has happened. This email reads, the people of the Federation must be grateful for straight talk every Monday and Thursday. Similarly, in like manner, for Sandra Queely Atherton Friday morning program. These avenues are very significant if we are to avoid a one-party system. Yes, there will be opposition members in the House, but how effective are they going to be when the Premier has signaled his intention to work hand in hand with the Prime Minister as long as he gets what he wants for Nevis? The other guy from Sandy Point who campaigned vehemently with Labour to get rid of Harris was so stupid, not realizing that he was fighting against himself with his ridiculous, nonsensical, dumb, feeble-minded refrain that after the next election for sure, Harris will not be the Prime Minister, giving the impression to his unsuspecting supporters that it will be him. Sean Boy, never so. When the House convenes, give your full support to Drew and his Labour government, for that is what you campaigned for, reads this email. And it's now 9 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour, and we're looking, as I've said earlier, and for those who may have just joined me, we're looking at a new paradigm in transparency. And transparency, like I said before, goes beyond laying the foundation for the relationship between government and the people, government and its citizens. And transparency is essential to build trust among governments as they work together for development. Improved coordination and cooperation will only occur if we are more open with one another about what we are doing. Eventually, all of us will need to drop our guard, our reticence, our unwillingness to do some things and to say some things. Our unwillingness to be honest about ourselves and or even talk about some things because of the politics. There's this example where people make excuses. People are nervous or worried and make excuses. You hear them say, I'm afraid to lose my job, or I'm afraid of being put in a position and to be unable and find myself unable to pay my rent, to pay my mortgage. But, these same people will come to me and tell me to come and talk and tell me what to talk on their behalf. But it's okay for me to lose my job and lose my income and be unable to pay my mortgage. That seems to be the position of some of these people. But, truth be told, no matter what, will continue to talk. No matter what. As I said before, I'll say again. I get strength and courage from the good book. I find a source of strength and courage and protection in the good book. My strength and courage comes from Deuteronomy, as I said before, which tells us that the Lord said to Moses, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren like unto thee, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. The hymn writer tells us, we are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and right, standing firm for godly justice, bringing evil things to light. We must therefore begin that process of deep and total and of full disclosure. Only this process will release us. Only this process will release us, I submit, my people, from the grip of the past and allow us to go into the present. Caller, you're live.
Yes, Patrick, thank you again, man. I am back. Patrick, you remember when I used to be in Warner Park and you always remind the public about it? You used to come and watch us, me and Lappy and the others. Well, I want the biggest present Judas and earth today in St. Kitts. It's one of them who was right up in arms with PLP. And every time that Judas talk, that Judas used to say, when you all, not when we all, when you all win, what I tell you, right the way that Judas was displaying the hypocrisy in him. Now, saying that to say, when I start first about the Warner Park, all them people in Warner Park who used to be there watching us, I was the one who sit down and strategize the organizing of that meet. So I know how to organize and arrange. Now, when people gonna have a public event and you expect spectators and everybody to come and watch them, the best way to inform the public about that is on a public address system and a vehicle go around the whole country. Everybody in every village will hear you. But when you got to disrespect people and we talk about you and send out invitation and notice to people on email, you're insulting people. How many persons would hear you or would get an email and know something is going on in Park or wherever? So that big Judas one time come tell me that he want me to organize a bicycle race over here number 7 to raise funds for PLP. And that's the way he gonna get the information out to people by email. I said, well, just go sit down, you don't know what you're saying. You can't come tell me that. You're talking to Mr. Boyk. So you don't come with that foolishness around me. You have to go on a PA system like Reggie. That's how people know. That's how people used to know who have sale and who have this. Because Reggie gonna ping public just sit him here and send him nothing on the email. Now I ain't too surprised with some of them who turned their back against PLP. Those I never expected them to do that. But some of them back there already turned long ago. But no, they do that now because they want the new administration to feel well then that, oh, I'm on your side now, so I ain't gonna stop you progressing what you are pursuing. That is why a lot of them turn the back on Dr. Harris. He not do them nothing. Nothing perfect. We all make mistakes. And when somebody realizes they make a mistake and they apologize, that person is a man or a woman. But he not do them nothing, and all of them just come and abuse and curse the man. Man, if somebody wrong, you tell them they're wrong. If they're right, you give them the kudos. Let your conscience dictate for you what you should do. Don't just go because of the money and all of that. Well, I understand, drain man and all. Lose the work. Patrick, I'll come back.
Thank you, my brother. Thanks for
your
intervention, as usual. Always assertive, always to the point. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge reads this email for publicly exposing Mark Brantley's lies and deceitfulness in reference to a letter he said his own unity government was holding back from dispatching to the Caribbean Development Bank to fund the geothermal project in Nevis. If Mark thinks that his bitterness, hatred, and lies he's perpetuating against Harris now, just to beg and buy company with Dr. Drew, will not stand. Mark is nothing but political lying, show-self opportunist with a double tongue. He praised Harris as the best prime minister and never once accused him of delaying the geothermal. Kudos, Dr. Daniel, keep the heat on that compulsive liar, reads this email. Tonight, we look at what exists at this moment in time in St. Kitts and Nevis. We made our observations, and yes, one of the observations we made was that particular observation or news or intervention from the leader of the NRP, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, when she exposed what I call myself the Mark Brantley geothermal lie. And this is what Janice Daniel Hodge had to say.
Because of a roadblock for a letter that he could not get from the government that he was part of. I said, this guy really, I think you need to put his face next to Pinocchio when we talk about telling lies. From 2011, 2012, the Green Climate Fund was around, actually 2015. The Green Climate Fund has been around. And because of our pursuit of sustainability, we have identified these various funding agencies that we said we would tap into to advance our geothermal and to advance our climate change projects, etc. And so all of a sudden, he now finds it necessary. It's okay to say that he got the letter, Dr. Drew sent off the letter. But to come back and say that that is the reason why he could not advance geothermal energy, that is a blatant lie. And I could tell you, the reason that geothermal energy has not been advanced is because it has not been a priority of the Sicilian government. It has not been a priority, and they have been negligent.
Straight Talk, as I said, will address the issue of geothermal as it relates to its development in St. Kitts, also in Nevis. But as I mentioned earlier, there is a new paradigm of transparency in St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is not the time to sit on the fence. This is a time to hold firm, to ensure that we have true representation, to move forward and to share with each other the knowledge that we need to help each other to save our federation. We have reached a very important critical point, and we need the cooperation of all levels of the hierarchy. We need the cooperation of all institutions. We need the cooperation as well of the government. After 39 years of independence, let us ask ourselves, are we stronger? Are we determined to ensure justice and freedom for all as we struggle for political and economic emancipation? If the answer is yes, then it means that no Kittitian or division will be left behind. No one will feel left out. But that may just be only wishful thinking. This email reads, Patches, recently, let's take this call, and I'll come back to that. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Patches, me gonna talk to me and rock. Look, I hear you say, a lot of people telling you, you must say this and say that. They're afraid they lose their work, but you're afraid you lose your work.
True.
Well, even before Team Unity from the administration, when they got demonstration, a lot of them who proclaim that they are unity, they calling it themselves all kind of names, but you never see them on the street walking the pan landing, all kind of up window peeping out, watching the brave soldiers them, all the disciples and me and others, watching us going down. And up to when the unity can struck from the administration, a lot of them say they're a Christian, they go in church. Well, you go to church to worship Christ, God, and to depart to serve Him. But that they know, Christian, what kind of Christian they be? If you got faith in God, why should we fear a man? Man close one door and God open four more. Right now, they ain't on the fence, you know, they're under defense. They're probably the whole and they got under defense. Eh? Man, come on, don't let the sun go down for the rat. If something is bothering you, don't be afraid to speak once you ain't telling the lie. Tell the truth. Okay, Patrick?
Okay, my brother.
That is the kind of people we got around here. Thank you. Good night.
Thanks a lot for your input.
Yes.
We go back to the lines and say Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
No. Greetings.
Yes, greetings, my brother.
How are you doing? Blessed night to you, Brother Patches, and good night to your listeners by radio.
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Yeah, me just not long come from a far distance out of Bastia, so me just reaching and get a little piece of your program playing within your dialogue to the nation of Singles and Nevis and the wider part of the world via World Wide Web. Now, you make some comment just now based on the context of the independence and how we are moving forward, and you look at the word emancipation, right?
Yes, I did.
Well, I would like to consider something here tonight, and it's very vital for we as a people to really align ourselves in how we are move forward. When it comes to the changes that we say we're looking to consume within economic, social, and political power. You see? And this is something real vital for the people of Sinkis and Nevis. I might not have the answer at this point in time, but these things need to be related right out across the board. Now, we have realized we come out of the yoke of the corona power.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ras. Are you close to a radio or something?
Well, I'm done. Move away from it. It's just that maybe the volume ain't for long. So maybe here for that.
Yes, I'm getting the feedback. I want the whole world to hear you.
Well, hold on there a minute, please. Let you know. Iran. Turn on the volume, please. Okay. High Majesty, we have to know give thanks for the cut package. Now, I like to say this here without any fear or favor. I'm not here to represent no political party. I will straight it out, firm and strong. Now, we have to respect our political party, whether you're now part of them or you're part of them. We got to put ourselves to align who we are as a people when we're going forward. The political parties have done a lot of damage to the development of things, but they have done good to the aspect of economical power. And I ain't saying that without knowing that me saying I have sit down with meetings with dirty World Bank officials and where they stated that things and news could never be broke. But we are service providers. So what are we generating as a people to create the economical changes to develop our common man or woman, especially those who are under the economical ladder? Are we really seeing how we're going forward to pursue in development? Because we are saying we have been changing. Look at here. We say when we get independent, we have aligned with Taiwan as being our social partner. But look at Taiwan, they have gained wealth, but we have always consumed the gain of their economical stand. Because we are here as a service provider, as a state again. It's time now we put the people in better way forward. Not perfect way forward, meaning that we must have a way in development, success within, whether you come from the college or you don't be a part of college. Both angles have to be generated the way of development, skill, and as they call it, tertiary level. Because we let these two go against one another, they have a problem in the long run. And we've seen it over the years. We have been mistreating our people. So there's a skilled worker and you have that brain farm with that skill. You see, you get mistreated. Whether you're that intellectual person with the academical honor, you see how they treat you, especially when you come from the area that, as they call the communities of McKnight, Newtown, St. Paul, and other areas of the Isle of St. Kitts and Nevis. No, we really have to consider how we're going to make this change, because we know our people is not no coward, but we are being misled by the political parties. Okay. This time now we get away from those political parties and align with our still estimate of how we're going to develop things and be assured how we're going forward as a nation development. We're not trusting people who are Freemason and Illuminati. We are trusting in the Almighty. This time now we burn the wicked system. You have a blessed night, my brethren. Thanks for your farmer. Because if we're not ready to stand for our youth, where can you stand again? Your blessed love. Give thanks.
Give thanks, my dear brother. I want to thank this caller for holding caller. It's 9:29 and you are live.
Hello, Patrice.
Hello, my dear. How art thou?
How are you today?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm calling to say with Mark Brantley. Mark Brantley, who looking friend with Mark Brantley? Mark Brantley's an alligator. Alligator don't have friends. So if Joe looking company with Mark, is alligator he's looking company with, because you could just feed the alligator and get in inner circle. See if he wouldn't eat you. That's Mark Brantley. He's an alligator. Alligator don't have friends. So that's all I have to say. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks for your input. Short, clear, and concise. Straight to the point. My dear caller, it's now 9:30. We are right at the bottom of the hour. And yes, I mean, one really has to beware, because if you would have heard the comments of that good gentleman you just called, you don't know when the skin will change. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hello, but I'm back.
Hello.
You could hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear.
Yes, well, bad since a born, taking picture. No country will help us like before. Them and others have problem. We see what's going on with them and others. Let him prove he will be better than the best prime minister. FBI never hurry and come back because he don't like Timothy. That better than him. But Timothy hide a lot of his faults and come now want to investigate he and his brother. You and the AG cool out. You all still have to get lawyer. None don't get no job from here. All gonna get the money from away. Don't waste the money. So a lot of people will be glad with the foolishness that they're talking about. There was with Timothy when he was giving them and looking for all of them. AG, we just passing through. Have a heart and a mind of your own. You hear all those claps when they come in the church, even who vote against him. They know he was good. Mr. Liburd, when the Prime Minister go away, 10 men in one will go with him too. That never used to happen. I used to happen. Asking you a question. You wait and see what they will bring back. I went Friday night school, so give me a chance. Thank you. Have a good night. Get home safely.
Thank you, my dear. Have a good night as well. What's this Friday night school, I wonder? Sounds like Alice in Wonder. Alice in Wonderland. That's a very interesting perspective, though. A Friday night school. That keeps you thinking. And it's very interesting, though, because it is fact. It is really fact, but I'll go back to the lines. It's 9:33, 27 before 10. Call you live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Hello, caller. Caller, are you there?
Hello.
Yes, my brother. Are you there?
Hello. That's it. That's it.
Yes, you're live.
Yeah. I hear when I called to tell you, right? Read Jeremiah. Chapter from chapter 1 to chapter 6. And it gave encouragement to and you could read just for chapter 1 too, and then give encouragement. So you take care yourself of the package. Okay?
Okay, thanks a lot for your input.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jeremiah chapter 1, it said.
Jeremiah chapter 1.
It's now 9:35. My Street Talk family. And again, if you have just joined me for tonight, we are looking at a new paradigm of transparency. Are you there, caller?
A new paradigm of transparency. Are you there, caller? A new paradigm of transparency. Are you there, caller?
Caller, can you turn your radio down?
Yes. Radio down? Yes. Radio down?
Okay, we seem to be getting a real terrible feedback from that line. Don't know what's going on with that particular line. But like I said, we've been looking at a new paradigm in transparency. And we asked the question, if after 39 years of independence, are we stronger? Are we determined to ensure that justice and freedom for all as we struggle for political and economic emancipation? If the answer is yes, then it means that no petition or division must be left behind. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you live. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Are they caller?
Yes. If the answer is yes.
Are they caller?
No petition.
These callers, you're listening to the telephone and you need to listen to the radio. Please listen to the telephone when you are making your calls, and we will get you connected. We'll get you connected, my Street Talk family. Yes, caller, you're live. Hello, caller. We seem to be having some difficulties with those calls, recent calls. See, get this sorted out. Yes, my Sherlock family was saying that if that answer is yes, let's try this call one more time. Caller, you live. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Caller, turn your radio down and listen to telephone. Hello, caller.
You can answer yes. It's trying to solve on the time. Call you now.
This email reads, Patches, recently there has been much talk. There has been much talk about the statement allegedly made by Mr. Bradshaw about giving Nevis bones in their rice and pepper in their soup. Also, recently some strong favorites were putting a spin on it in defense of Mr. Bradshaw. His daughter declared on Freedom that if anyone can prove to her he made the statement, she is ready and willing to apologize on his behalf, which I consider an eloquent gesture. Well, Patches, she can speak to Sam about it in light of what he said on the Marishaw media post. Sam told him in no uncertain terms that he, Sam, can verify Bradshaw made the statement in Warner Park at a public meeting, as he was told by a Labour man who was present, but the name he will not call for reasons. Well, said Sam, now, Patches, I will elaborate more because my headmaster, who was a very proud, bright Nevisian, took umbrage with that statement. He told us it was in 1966 at Warner Park in his presence following the victory of the Labour Party in general elections. Nevis and Anguilla rejected the Labour Party candidates, and so Bradshaw was very angry, and so he said he was going to Nevis to give Nevis bones in their rice and pepper in their soup. Then someone in the crowd shouted, "And what about Anguilla?" He said, "Oh, as for those Baba Johnnies, I will turn them into a desert." Those are the facts. And let's remind ourselves that when Anguilla rebelled in 1967 and the British Overseas Minister visited the island in his quest to resolve the situation, when he was told that Bradshaw said he was going to turn them into a desert, and he saw the evidence that reflected a deserted right in his eyes, he had no other alternative but to declare to the Anguillans that the British government has no intention to force them to live under an administration they do not want. The rest is history, reads that email. It's now some 18 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. We had some problems with our line, so this 663 number, please call it back. It seemed to be now up and running, so if you're trying to get that number, 663-6672, please try right now. It is up and running now, as I just observed. So those who are trying to get that number, please try that number one more time. It's 663-6672. And as we are on the uphill side of 10 o'clock, and I can't pretend, but I can say that there's real tragedy in our country. After every election, our people have been further divided. There's very little time, therefore, for a honeymoon period. Very little time, I submit. But let's go to the lines at 6:10. You're live. Hello, call.
Good night. Good night, honorable Patches.
Good night,
yes.
My dear.
I hear all what you're saying. But honorable Douglas quite a lot of fault for Timothy. So not know if that is other fault. But honorable Douglas quite a fault. Because when I used to go back with them, it's another damn thing. For Pam. So Pam end up over the wall now for you. It's another damn thing for Pam to go where they go. So Douglas had a lot of fault for him. So they mustn't be like that. Everybody live together. And how they say unity, you have to Pam over the wall. Yes, Pam over the wall. Yes, so you take care. I get you now. See you.
Okay, my dear.
Have a good night, safe journey home.
Have a good night, my dear.
Yeah, but Mr. Brother said so, as I said, that born, it doesn't mean it's so poor Nevis. So, I don't know. Because I have poor, and we don't follow the politician and still one another. And right now we don't have a poor people can't have no money. See you.
So
have a good night.
Before you go, how are you though? How are things with you?
I'm good.
You're good? But what?
I'm good, but I'm trying to really work. Yes.
You try to what?
Thank you. I'm trying to get up because how we don't work. And a lot of people get told and they got to rent to pay them mortgage. So see you, take care. Our government do it. Tom do it, Labour do it, Unity, and everybody. See you. Take care. Have a good night. Safe journey home. Love you.
Have a good night, my dear. I love you more. That's my good Labour friend. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Hello, caller. Caller, just turn your radio equipment down and talk to the phone. Are you there, caller? Hello, caller. I'm not going to take this call. You keep calling, yes, but I implore you, just turn your radio down because we won't be able to hear you. So unless we can hear you, unless the quality of the call is worthy of sending it to the airwaves, then I really can't take the call. If that number keeps coming up, I don't know who is calling, but if you're trying to get to the program, please just turn your radio down. Yes, caller, you live. Hello, caller.
You keep calling me, yes,
hello, caller.
We won't be able to hear you.
Okay, I don't know if that's a deliberate call or not, but if it's not, please, we won't be able to hear you if you have your radio on or you're standing by your equipment or wherever you're calling from. Just speak to the telephone and forget the radio if you're trying to get to straight talk. Nonetheless, it's 13 before 10 o'clock. And it's there's little time, as I was going to say, very little time for the honeymoon period. Because so many small businesses in our blessed federation are struggling. Lots of people are not happy because the price of food is rising daily. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patrick. Yes, I only come back to help you. The caller who keep calling and with the distortion in his phone or her phone, please, Patrick speaking English. Turn off your equipment. You know what you're going to say? So therefore you don't need to hear yourself on the radio. Okay? Unless the person deliberately doing it to kill time. Thank you again, Patrick.
Thank you, operator. Thanks for your input. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Liburd.
My dear.
They don't want, nobody want to call, they want to tie up the line. Okay. Because the big people want to talk, and you're talking, and then none of them said to turn on the radio. Why they doing that? So they're keeping back time that nobody could call in.
Okay.
See you. I hear they were abusing Timothy in the burying ground, so about he hide. He not to hide. He from here. See you.
Have a good night, my dear. So, as we said, there's no time for the honeymoon. We cannot forget that livelihoods in a tourism and hospitality sectors, the background or backbone of the economy, our grassroots economy in particular, were put on hold. Our restaurants, our taxi drivers, our hay breeders, all lost income. But let's go back to the lines. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Yes, but it's me again. Yes, good night, but it's me again. Looking at the supermarket, then right, they got hoist coin and milk of $4. And plus of it, the wages ain't gone up. I must need to talk to those supermarket people because they're building a kind of hotel and a kind of big building and they're robbing the lorry with this amount of money. Starfish, everything, and oil, which is everything gone up. So, I don't know what we're going to do. When the boat them not come and they take long to come, they pour an interest on our no interest on our money. See you.
Heard you loud and clear, my dear. Yes, the cost of living. Food cost is rising every day. But I'm really afraid that it just seems, at least for now, that it will not happen, at least under this administration. But the country needs a stimulus. The country needs a stimulus to help people to recover from their losses over the past years. We heard about honorarium for frontline workers, but there was some honorarium given to workers who lost their jobs in the private sector. What about self-employed, like the taxi drivers, for example, who weren't vaccinated and couldn't go into the bubble? Would they be considered? But as I said, our restaurants, our taxi drivers, our hay breeders, our hotel workers still need help. They still need help because they are still recovering from their losses. Some may have not even found a job as yet. But I'm afraid, as I said, it seems like that help would not come from the Jew administration. My Street Dog family, there's a brand of politics that's transactional. This brand of politics is about me, not about the country or my family. Caller, you're live.
Patches, good night.
My dear brother, good night. How about thou, Jam Down?
I'm fine, my buddy. Patches, the price of food in the country right now is terrible. Something needs to be done. I don't know how these young men gonna tackle it, but something needs to be done. I mean, when you go to the grocery and where $100 giving you, it's terrible, Patches. Quickly, Patches. I want to let Sinki's people know that they gotta get themselves in order because this life ain't getting better. You understand? It ain't getting better because where we see going on around us now, where people making people enemies and going out there directly at people, we got to get ourselves in order because it ain't gonna be easy, you know. And lastly, Patches, I want to tell him the new tourism minister, she has to hit the ground hard because these craft vendors this season is not going to get left behind. If a sign can't go over by the welcome hall, to let these people make a little dollar coming from various parts of the country, spending lots of money, and then they can't even get a sale to pay the chance. something wrong because Jam no will talk. I will speak. And lastly, I want the tourism minister, especially my good friend Daniel, who are part of the setup in tourism, to take down the palm tree in the focus. He can hurt somebody. That says good night, take care of yourself, and I hope we get a minister who could do things like you. Because you have make a mark in this country, from ministers from Bradshaw into Simmons into the Barabbas. Me never see a minister walk like you yet like that. Give me a break. Have a good night, Patrick.
Have a good night as well, my dear brother. Thanks for the commendation. And yes, it was deliberate, because when I got elected and went into the government, I went to deliver for the people. Our roads were in bad shape, so we repaired them. Our airport is runway, it's lighting. We needed a new pier. We needed a new ferry terminal. We needed new bus terminals. We needed to advance the traffic management through traffic signals, and we did that. But there's lack of transparency as we wind down tonight's programming, which is one of the basic principles of good governance that can provide the general public with an accurate and deep understanding into the work of government, its companies, and its corporations. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Greetings.
Greetings, sir.
Greetings.
Greetings, my brother.
Yeah, big thanks. I know you're going to wrap up soon, and
yes,
it's just a vibe come to my mind here while you're talking. You mean? So you can turn on the volume. It's just a vibe there to say, no, that you see why I was talking about all of it is something very important, and you need to really take it serious. For the fact you see what your caller just said, that the price of food is going up, that inflation and the wages of people money is still down. So are we really considering how we will remove these problems at our hands? It's a global control. The inflation what has been on the eye of pandemic via the eye of new world order in 2019 is something that the people that understand the statement that was made boldly, that is a new age, a new era of living, and we have to adjust ourselves in this lifestyle of living. Now, you as a former member of the parliament and a representative of administration under the former regime of Timothy Harris in 2015 to 2020, I know basically you all think that you all had everything well settled, but you all really have to remember that there is an inner circle of the system that controls the financial, economic power. But the party that are telling you straight out, to really educate the youth and properly, because a lot of youth that go away to study about economics, but in all the time we have to look at economics alone. We have to look at other avenues that can generally bring us more than what we see when we go into the economic market. And if that is where we're moving to, saying we're in a global country or community, we better start bringing the youth into studying nature. Nature is a way of sources to our safety development, the agriculture department, and all those areas that we are neglecting and trying to hold on to tourism as some kind of market bread. And we know that is a wash-up, a disaster to our human development. And we are serving some kind of white people and some kind of black people who coming in and trying to people saying, but them are tourists. And that's still not generally bringing we as a people to a stable development. But the hotel and the restaurant them who are named by these thieving cocaine dealers that are going here. I really got to be mindful of what I did to our youth. There's a lot of death and destruction I promote on the youth. Me don't know how you level be when you're the minister in that context. Maybe so you see things moving, but let us start moving away from them. Yeah, the beast is rising and the devil is trying to promote all the destructive plans. But we know it's good to conquer evil That's why we say burn the evil force of the alliance system. There is no good. A destructive action they're bringing on to the people. You know what you see all right now in this generation, what we're seeing in the 21st century? I'm mad, they're mad. Imagine a young girl just take up last week and stab another young girl and then for another thing with these madness are going on in the things and other parts of the world. Come on, Billion and Fishin. I wake up on the top of that because of political power. This can prove African people. African people go deeper than that. We are builders of the masters of the universe. We have civilization blazing to the whole world. Why can't we do that again? Is it up to us? Or are we going to be always a slave? I'm not going to be a slave. I'm a liberator. And I'm ready to tear down that old teaching, dirty, wicked, racist system. That the old dirty queen who just stand on in that dot. And the dirty king who coming from top of Union, King Charles III. So copyright them the beast. They ain't ready for the rulership of the world. But they're always gravitating economical power of the world. The fact is, I hope that you see why and I is maintained and these people here they are part of the new world order. They have a safeness. Don't be a part of these basic people. All they're concerned about power, not development. Bless the love this time.
Thanks, my brother. And that's the way we gotta end it for tonight, my Straight Dog family. And in this new paradigm of transparency, we spoke about restoring or revising the CBI. Again, in winding up, Straight Talk has learned that since the new administration took office, over 1,000 applications for citizenship under the prison project has been signed by the Prime Minister. We cannot confirm that is truth. So I asked the Prime Minister to bring light to that issue. And in the process of restoring the CBI, Prime Minister Drew, please reveal to the country how many passports have been processed under the CBI program since its inception. The last figure we got officially was 4 years ago, over 16,500 passports. We've heard speculation about over 30,000 passports have already been issued under our CBI program. Issued to Chinese, to Russians, the two most important markets for the CBI, I understand. Nigerians. Iranians now are a no-no, but there are many other nationalities whose countries permit dual citizenship. So I call on the Prime Minister, and the country is calling as well, for a new paradigm of transparency. So please, in your first press conference, which you promise will be soon, come prepared to tell St. Kitts and Nevis how many passport applications you have signed since taking office and how many passports have been processed to date. That would demonstrate a new paradigm of transparency because the country needs to know. That's my story for the night, and I'm not going to change it. But I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, I'm going to thank the callers. I'm going to thank the emailers. I'm going to thank the many listeners on social media, on YouTube and Facebook. And I want to thank those on Win FM radio as well. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's Spear, we will connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talks. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family, spread the word that Straight Talk is now as well on Win FM radio from 8 to 10 on Mondays and Thursdays. Of course, we remain on social media, Facebook and YouTube as well. All you have to do is to Google Straight Talk with Ian Patches Liburd and you're right on point. So until we connect on Thursday, Be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Dog family, just keep moving on. Be good to yourselves, like I said, and to all whom you meet. Remember to show love wherever you go.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe. I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees, the Lord I kneel and pray, my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep, and my guide, over every step I take, He will preside. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. Since God protects me with His love, strong, pure and true, and so sincere, 'cause my knees I'll always stay to the Lord in prayer. So whatever my mind conceives, I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could.